So the question still remains, are home prices about to fall? And the answer is welcome back to the Cornerstone Realtor Team podcast. Today we are talking about inventory. A lot of the questions that we're getting, is inventory higher now? Yes, it is. But we're going to break down what that actually means for you if you're trying to sell your house. Welcome back, Jamil. Good to see you.
Yes, thank you.
Today we're going to talk about inventory. A lot of sellers, they're worried. Does inventory mean that home prices are dropping? Does higher inventory cause house prices to drop? We're going to break that down today. And we're going to talk about what's the real message behind higher inventory and how does that affect you as a home seller?
All right, so why people believe higher inventory leads to lower home prices. And point number one is the basic supply and demand theory. You know, the economic theory behind supply and demand and why increasing supply will have a lower price, and that puts pressure because it puts pressure on the price. When there's more of it, right, that becomes it will become there's more options. So when there's more options, people are picky and choosy. So when there's less options, people have to buy what's out there. It's like going to the store. If you need a lemon and there's only 10 lemons and you need 8, you're going to pick what's there and maybe take it all. And the next person comes and there's nothing there. But if there's 1,000 of them, you might pick your 10, the best 10, not, the opposite. So, and why does this concept make sense to most people? Most people understand supply and demand, so they make their choices based on that. And the media focuses on inventory. Headlines, the media uses the headlines of low inventory, and people use that as a simple indicator. Oh, prices must be down. Rising inventory is easy to measure and report. This creates the impression that the price drop is available. So, and then why many people compare today to past housing markets. Not all housing markets are the same. I've been in this business for 24 years, and I've never seen rates this high. I mean, I can't even remember. In 2002, when I started, rates were not this high. So, rates being this high is causing also inventory to stay on the market. And people often associate rising inventory with previous market downturns. Well, the last downturn we had was 2008, 2010, where we had the mortgage crisis. This is totally different. We have jobs right now. Jobs are okay in most areas. But this creates fear that history will repeat itself. Well, we're not going into a bank-owned or foreclosure type market or short sales. But every housing market has different conditions. So while the logic sounds reasonable, inventory alone doesn't tell the whole story.
True. And another thing we want to talk about, that inventory alone does not affect home prices. It's buyer demand. That's just as important. In every market, is buyer demand there? We have to ask that question. Buyers' prices depend on both supply and demand. We understand that. That's a fact. But if buyers' demand remains strong, prices don't usually go down that much. They might adjust a little bit. They might correct a little bit, but it's not the bottom falling out like most people are waiting for. So if you're in the market to buy, don't wait. Because if you find the right house that fits your needs, you should go for it right away. Strong employment and consumer confidence supports the demand. So you have to look at job market. You have to look at consumer confidence. If that stays high, the market stays strong. Even with higher inventory will end up flushing as buyers continue to buy. Like we talked about, that there's more choices. So people are taking longer to make their purchase because they're looking at multiple properties. It's not just 4 or 5 houses in the whole city on the market. You got 80, 100, 120. So they're looking in their criteria. Another thing we have to look at is higher mortgage rates. So higher mortgage rates change the affordability of people. So in the lower market, people can afford more. So they buy a little bit higher. But now people have to adjust with the rates, with their payments and their ratios. So the interest rate market affects buyers, and it can affect inventory changes because some things end up sitting a little bit longer. So a lot of people look at national statistics. You're on the radio, you're on TV shows, and they are pumping that there's more inventory on the market, but it's all about local market. You cannot go to the stats of the nation and compare that with the Tri Valley here because it depends on jobs. How's the job market? Are people still making money? Local growth, population trends, new construction, all of that matters within the equation of the market. So it's very local. Real estate is very local. Yes, there's the national numbers, but it's very local. That's why real estate professional, they never rely on inventory itself. They look at sold comparables. They look at different trends that are happening, who's moving, the kind of buyer that's coming in. That's all very important. So when we look at a house in a certain area or neighborhood, we generally know what kind of buyer is coming in and we market to those buyers, which is very important.
What buyers and sellers should really watch: days on market. Are homes selling quickly or are they sitting longer? That's a question. When you look at a house and you're buying it, you need to look at days on market. Longer selling homes typically indicate less buyer urgency. So every house is different right now. That's what we're seeing. Every house sells differently. Price reduction. More sellers lowering prices can signal a cooling market. Watch whether price reductions are becoming more common. They are becoming more common. Pending sales. How many buyers are still making offers? We look at that. How many homes are going pending per day? Strong pending offers often support stable prices. And months of inventory. This measures how long it will take to sell the available homes. It provides a more accurate picture than simply counting listings. So we're watching the how many homes are on the market per city, how much inventory we have. And many housing experts consider it one of the best indicators to market balance. The amount of inventory we have gives us a good idea what kind of market we're in. Are we in a buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? Right now, it's still a seller's market, but we're going into a buyer's market. And looking at these indicators gives us a much clearer picture of our inventory at this time.
So the question still remains, are home prices about to fall? And the answer is no. Why? Higher inventory usually means these things, and you should be aware of them as a seller. Buyers gain more choices. There's more houses to look at. Like Jamil said, time on market might be increasing because there are more choices. So don't get freaked out by days on market. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean the prices are falling and they're going down. Sellers face more competition because if you list your house and you have one street down another house listed and another street down another, all within the same neighborhood, the buyers will look at all the houses. There's more choices. Negotiations, they become more balanced, more fair, especially for the buyer because they have choices and they can bargain a little bit more and use the inventory as a leverage. When will prices actually fall? That's a question. Prices tend to decline when rising inventory is combined with weaker buyer demand. When the buying demand is not there, that's when you will see huge price adjustments. We have not seen that. We've seen some correction, but buyer demand is still there. And like we talked about, if you are in a neighborhood that has all the things that attract the buyer, from top rated schools from amenities close to freeway, parks, shopping, transportation, you are still getting a good offer within a good time. It just depends on the neighborhood. So you have to look at that. Higher mortgage rates definitely slow down sales and increase downward pressure. But we have seen people are okay with higher rates because a lot of people, they are thinking that if I buy now in this market, it's much better than when the rates go down and I have to compete and pay a lot more for my house. So like we always say, marry the house and date the rate. You can always refinance. So local economic conditions play a major part in the selling of a home or the purchase of a home. Depends on work. We're in an area where there's a lot of high-tech jobs. It depends on layoffs or job increases. That always takes the equation one way or another. So you have to look at these things too, because it's very important to really determine where the market is shifting to. Higher inventory is an important signal, but it's not the prediction. It does not mean because we have higher inventory that prices are going to fall. A lot of people say, wow, there's about 5 houses in my neighborhood up for sale. Prices must be dropping. That's not always the issue. That's not always the story. Each house is different, each neighborhood is different, and each buyer is different. Some houses appeal to certain buyers that don't appeal to others. So the direction of home prices depends on inventory, it depends on demand, affordability of the buyer, and a local market condition. All these things work together. So to get a real accurate reading of what your house is worth and what it will sell for, each house is a story within itself and each neighborhood is a story within itself.
In conclusion, don't let a single headline shape your expectation. Like Raymond said, every neighborhood is different. You have to look at that neighborhood and that city, what is going on there. You find yourself a good agent that understands the area, and they can give you the stats, and that's important. Rising inventory does not automatically mean the prices are falling. That doesn't mean that. It just means there's more options. The smartest buyers take their time and they look at homes, and they make sure they look at the entire market before they make a decision. And they get an agent that understands their market. And understanding the full picture will help you be more confident in your real estate decisions. And hiring an agent will help you do that. Find a good agent that can share with you, spend the time, that can consult, and really help you. And we are here for that reason. We're experts in the Tri Valley, and we'd love to help you in your home buying or selling journey. We've been doing this for a long time. So subscribe, share, and if you have any questions, please reach out.